Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 4:30.
Now at 4:30, rates unchanged. How the war in Iran impacted the Federal Reserve's decision today. And shock in the aftermath. How people in a South Lincoln neighborhood are reacting tonight after a scary overnight shooting near an Arby's there. And shoes overload. How a central Nebraska community is honoring a beloved cat lover after her passing. Breaking now, we begin with that important Federal Reserve decision today. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our 4:30 newscast. I'm Rod Fowler. The Federal Reserve is holding interest rates steady. They say it's in response to surging prices set off by the war in Iran. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee with the latest details.
The Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell holding his final press conference as chair, announcing the board's decision to hold interest rates steady.
Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy rate unchanged. We see the current stance of monetary policy as appropriate to promote progress toward our maximum employment and 2% inflation goals.
The Iran war set off a rapid acceleration of price increases, creating a challenge for policymakers as they deal with elevated inflation and sluggish hiring. Powell announcing he is taking the unusual step of remaining on the central bank's board of governors after his term as chair ends May 15th.
I'm waiting, for the investigation to be well and truly over with finality and transparency, and I'm waiting for that, and I will leave when I think it's appropriate to do so.
The Department of Justice launched a criminal probe against Powell in January, focusing on alleged false testimony to Congress about an office renovation. Powell rebuked the probe as politically motivated due to President Trump's vocalized frustrations. Powell would not lower interest rates.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
The standoff sparking a bipartisan stonewall in the Senate Banking Committee, with Republican Senator Tom Tillis refusing to approve Trump's Fed chair nominee Kevin Warsh until the investigation into Powell was dropped. Last week, the Department of Justice agreeing to drop the criminal probe against Powell, allowing the Senate Banking Committee to advance Warsh's Fed chair nomination in a 13-11 party line vote this morning. Outgoing Chair Powell looking forward to a lower profile.
Thank you very much, everyone. I won't see you next time.
Warsh's nomination to lead the Fed will head to the Senate floor for a vote, which is all but certain to be approved. It's just a matter of when. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Time now for a look at your evening forecast. Rusty, what's the weather looking like tonight?
Kind of interesting. Look at all of this. Nothing severe about this whatsoever. We've got a couple of lightning bolts here south and east of North Platte, some light to moderate rainfall in southwest Nebraska, sprinkles and light showers between O'Neill, Grand Island, and Columbus, some light rain showers off to the north and west. Now, this isn't going to, fix our drought by any stretch, but still, it is a step in the right direction. We need many more days like this where it's just some light rain on and off. Just keep doing it over and over again. Some of this will try to get into south central and southeast Nebraska, but it's a kind of a dry atmosphere out there. So I don't think it'll quite make it into the Lincoln area, but it'll try. If it does get here, it would likely be after the sun goes down. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, a lot of sunshine out there and a little on the cool side, 63 degrees. We're at 63 in Lincoln, 62 in Hebron, 60 in Nebraska City, 61s in Wahoo and Omaha. Temperatures tonight eventually falling into the lower and middle 40s, so a little cool to start your day tomorrow. We'll talk more about the rest of the week forecast, which is still cool, in a few.
Thank you, Rusty. Developing now, people in a South Lincoln neighborhood are speaking out after a frightening ordeal, sending an officer to the hospital.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle De Silva and I'm reporting from the Arby's at South 27th and Nebraska Parkway. As you can see behind me, it looks like your average lunch hour. People are rolling up to the window to pick up their meals, nothing out of the ordinary. But just last night, the neighbors here tell me that it was a totally different picture. The area was flooded with emergency lights, first responders, and law enforcement. One eyewitness tells me she came out of her house to get a closer look and had never seen so many police officers in her life. She says there were about 20 to 30 officers on site. Now, what exactly happened? Well, police tell us that they were called over by a man, and when they got here, that same man attempted to take the officer's sidearm. After things escalated, officers had to restrain him by deploying a taser. We'll have more information about what happened here last night, but also the neighborhood's reaction and reaction from the police union. That'll be on at 5 and 6 o'clock. I'm Danielle De Silva reporting in Lincoln for Channel 8.
New tonight, the Beatrice Community Hospital responding to a report of a bomb threat. Someone called them and said bombs and shooters had been placed outside the hospital. Officials say it was a false alarm. The hospital thanking their staff and local law enforcement for their quick actions to assess the situation. They say they're working with authorities on this investigation. Now to a heart-tugging story. Only on 8, a central Nebraska community is remembering one of their own in a special way.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Here is Jacob, reporting for Channel 8 News. A rescue cat shelter in Kearney lost a volunteer last month. A volunteer that they say was the person behind their success with the shoe fundraiser, spending hours sorting, rubber banding, and bagging the shoes. Her name was Ella. And for Ella's memorial, the family asked people to bring in a pair of good used shoes to honor her life. And well, the rescue shelter gathered around 75 pairs of shoes that were collected. Just what an outpour of support for Ella and this community. And we'll be talking with the rescue shelter here tonight and hearing from them on what this means and also learning more about the life Ella lived. We'll have that here on the news at 5 and 6 o'clock.
New developments now on voting rights in the U.S. The U.S. Supreme Court making a landmark decision impacting minority voters. ABC's Christiane Cordero explains what this all means.
In a case with potentially major implications for America's elections, today the Supreme Court ruled to limit a key part of the Voting Rights Act. The 6-3 decision fell along ideological lines. The court's conservative majority struck down a Louisiana congressional map that was drawn to address the diluted influence of racial minority voters. Lower courts recognized Louisiana only had one majority black voting district of its 6 statewide, despite its voting age population representing more than a third of its state. Those courts then ordered the state to add a second majority black district. Justice Samuel Alito wrote the highest court's opinion issued today and said that process relied explicitly and unconstitutionally on race.
This is a ruling that almost completely constitutionalizes a color blindness principle to the point that even race-conscious remedies designed to remedy racial discrimination are unconstitutional.
Race has long been unconstitutional as a primary tool in drawing congressional maps, but for decades, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act was used as a guardrail against attempts to dilute the influence of voters of color. During oral arguments last fall, the justices were critical of that practice continuing indefinitely.
This court's cases in a variety of contexts have said that race-based remedies are permissible for a period of time, but that they should not be indefinite and should have an endpoint.
In her dissent, Justice Elena Kagan warned if other states follow Louisiana's lead, minority citizens will no longer have an equal opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
And new at 4:30, police in Columbus, Nebraska are welcoming a new addition to their team. We're talking about their new canine colleague, Baxter. Columbus PD says he and his handler, Officer Otten, are right now completing a rigorous 13-week training to prepare Baxter for the job. They say when they're done, Baxter will become a certified canine and a full member of the team. Coming up after the break, the busy travel season ahead could be coming with a measles upsurge. The latest warning from the CDC and where Nebraska stands when it comes to infection rates. And coming up all new at 5, projected impact. How one Nebraska senator says a move to change pesticide labeling rules would affect our local ag industry. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Right now, King Charles and Queen Camilla taking a bite out of the Big Apple today. The royals are on their U.S. visit ahead of America's 250th birthday. The couple stopping at a number of sites across Manhattan, including the 9/11 Memorial. ABC's Rena Roy has more on their visit.
King Charles and Queen Camilla starting their New York City visit with a somber moment at the 9/11 Memorial in Lower Manhattan, accompanied by former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, pausing at the reflecting pools that now sit where the two Twin Towers once stood, leaving flowers where the names of the lives lost nearly 25 years ago are now etched in stone. Current Mayor Zohran Mamdani and the governors of New York and New Jersey also there. The King and Queen meeting with first responders and family members of some victims. From there, the King heading uptown to Harlem, touring an after-school urban farm program called Harlem Grown.
I like it.
Do you? Good.
Checking out their crops and helping students feed chickens.
I think he's a phenomenal representative for his country. I think the people in the United Kingdom should be proud.
The stop in New York follows yesterday's big day in the nation's capital. President Trump and the First Lady hosting the King and Queen for a state dinner at the White House. The King also addressing Congress Tuesday, receiving multiple standing ovations.
The story of the United Kingdom and the United States is at its heart a story of reconciliation, renewal, and remarkable partnership.
The royal couple will be back in D.C. for a formal farewell at the White House tomorrow before departing from Joint Base Andrews. The King will be heading to Bermuda and the Queen will be going home. In Lower Manhattan, Rena Roy, ABC News.
And it's time for a look at the full forecast. Here's Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins.
I've been fascinated by this camera, especially this time of day. And right now, not much to it because the traffic's not flowing. But once it starts to get going, it's wild to watch everybody maneuvering around these cones and the orange, and they go left and right and turning. And it's easier when it's this way, but when they start to go the other way, it's fascinating to watch. But I digress. 48th at Cornhusker Highway, a mixture of clouds and sun. Precipitation. We get there. We get a little rain, but we keep missing out on some of the heavier rain. And well, we're at 4.07 for the year. 5.62 is normal. 1.5 below where we're supposed to be for this time of year. So we have some work to do, but at least we're not falling too far behind too fast. We just have to keep at it. And there's precipitation chances out there. It's just they're kind of a ways away. Temperatures this morning dropped into the 30s. 37 for a low in the capital city about 5 or 6 o'clock this morning, but we bounced up nicely. We're at 63 as of the 4 o'clock hour. So, not bad for late April. I think we might even tack on 1 or 2 more degrees before we start to fall back down into the 40s by early tomorrow morning. Light breeze. So, just letting everybody know, perfect next several days to get that lawn mowed. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of blue sky, and the grass is green. So get out there and it's good to go Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. And if you had weekend plans and now I ruined it because now you have to go mow the yard, I do apologize. This is where all the severe weather is at, well to our south towards the deep south, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. Around here, though, a few sprinkles here and there, even a rumble of thunder every now and then along the interstate there, just south and east of North Platte. So as we head through tonight, that will try to make it into south central Nebraska, maybe eastern Nebraska by about midnight. Won't amount to much if we do see anything. But again, just little baby steps. If we can keep seeing some rain here and there versus none at all, we'll be all the better for it. Temperatures tomorrow morning, below the freezing mark further north and west, a little warmer south and east right around that 40-degree mark. No frost advisories yet. That may change as we get into the next couple of days. The forecast, I think we'll see highs tomorrow in the lower 60s. And looking outside, it's pretty nice. It's a good day to be outside.
All right. Thank you, Rusty. Developing now, new studies are connecting the dots between parental stress and kids' mental health.
For Channel 8 News, I'm Andrew Ward. We're getting a better look here at parent stress and kids' mental health. A national survey by Ipsos found that 30% of parents with children under 18 say they experience stress often. The survey included over 1,000 parents across the U.S. They found that two of the top sources of stress were children's behavioral issues and children's emotional or mental health. But at that same time, nearly half of stressed parents worry their own stress is making their children more anxious. Experts from the Kids Mental Health Foundation recommend that parents also take care of their own mental health because their stress can set the tone in the home.
Well, the CDC is issuing a new warning about measles in the U.S. They say more cases are expected to break out within the next few months as people get busy with travel. The agency is sending out an alert to health departments all across the country, asking them to report new cases within 24 hours. There have been more than 1,700 cases this year alone, and that includes 48 here in Nebraska. It is time now for a look at what's trending at KLKNTV.com. Here's Channel 8's Mark Fisher.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Mark Fisher, and we're back with another segment of what's trending on KLKNTV.com. First up, a man was killed on Tuesday after authorities said he crashed his vehicle while fleeing from an impaired driving investigation in Hall County. Just before 2:15 p.m., a trooper with the Nebraska State Patrol saw a GMC Sierra blow a tire and slide to a stop near the Grand Island exit on Interstate 80. After speaking with the driver, the trooper suspected that the driver was impaired. The trooper asked the driver to get out of the car and follow him to his patrol unit, and as the trooper approached his unit, authorities said the driver ran back to his vehicle and drove off. Officials said the trooper started a chase but failed to get the driver to pull over. The driver exited Interstate 80 onto Alda Road and headed north. Shortly after, authorities said the driver lost control of the vehicle and crashed. Authorities said the driver and lone occupant of the vehicle was ejected. Additional rescue units were called to the scene, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. Also getting clicks, El Portrero Mexican restaurant in South Lincoln is closing its doors on Thursday. In a Facebook post on Monday, the restaurant, located near 40th Street and Old Cheney Road, says it was closing to focus fully on its downtown location. According to the restaurant, all previously purchased gift cards will continue to be honored at the downtown location. You can read about these stories and much more on our website at klkntv.com, but for now, we'll be back right here tomorrow with more trending stories.
And coming up after the break, postseason baseball is here in Nebraska. It's day one of the GPAC baseball tournament. Hear how teams are faring and what's to come for some of our local colleges. And coming up all new at 5 o'clock, a substitute teacher at Raymond Central in trouble after an incident with students. Hear the message from authorities to parents today. Pack brackets are set with Doane and Concordia, the two host schools. For the latest on today's action, let's check in with Channel 8 Sports Director Nate Johnson. Nate?
Hey, thank you, Rise. Time for some postseason baseball here in Nebraska. Today is the first day of the GPAC tournament. Doane and Concordia finished as the number 1 and 2 seeds in the regular season, so they are the host schools for each of the tournament pods. Concordia will be hosting the 3, 6, and 7 seeds in their bracket. All games will be here in Lincoln at Sherman Park. And Doane will host the 4, 5, and 8 seeds in their bracket, which will be hosted at Doane's baseball field. Now, here is a look at the Doane bracket and what's transpired already today. Briarcliff and Northwestern going wire to wire, 5-3 the final in 14 innings in that game. Doane and Hastings here in progress, and we'll have more on the action as it continues all week long. And here's a look at Concordia's bracket. The Bulldogs take the field today at 6 p.m. Dakota Wesleyan and Morningside in action as we speak, and we'll have a full update on these games later tonight at 10, of course. We'll have an update at 6 as well. Excited to see some postseason baseball, though. Plenty more to talk about coming up in the Sports Zone. We'll see you there. For now, though, Rattle, send things back over to you.
All right, thank you, Nate. And with the Soccer World Cup just months away, your pet can help you represent your favorite team. Adidas has unveiled a pet collection of jerseys inspired by various countries' home kits. They include Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, and the U.S. The Adidas World Cup pet collection will be available in stores and online starting on Friday. Some cute pictures there. Let's get a final check of the weather and traffic this hour. Let's start with Rusty.
Just trying to think if my dog would let me put something like that on her, and I'm thinking not. Probably not going to happen. Temperatures will eventually fall tonight into the below freezing mark area to the north and west. I think we'll hover in the lower 40s in southeast Nebraska. We'll try to warm up back into the 60s tomorrow afternoon and then cool back down. We could see some frost early Friday morning just about everywhere, and then we start to warm back up. We'll try for the lower 60s again by Friday afternoon. Here's a look at where that precipitation is going to be at tonight. Mainly western half of the state has the better chance, but that will try to move through as we head through the overnight into early tomorrow morning, and then just clouds as we head through Thursday afternoon. So small chances for rain out there tonight.
Thank you, Rusty, and that's going to do it for Channel 8 News at 4:30. Stay with us. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be back in a couple of minutes with our team of reporters and now citizen journalists for our 5 o'clock news. We'll see you then.
Reinventing the ordinary hot dog. Crispy cheesy original and bold jalapeno popper at Amigos, where food is fun.
Let your voice be heard by sharing your photos and videos to the Now Local News app. Earn points and redeem them for gift cards. Scan the QR code to join.
No pain, no gain? No thanks. Real strength isn't taking the pain, it's treating it. When there's no pain, there's more gain. Advil Liquid Gels target pain caused by inflammation for fast, strong relief. Advil, that's real strength.
Hey, buddy.
Morning.
I'm a stickler for good dental care.
Me too.
Ooh, looking sharp today. But even if we take care of our teeth, we can still get...
No, please don't say it.
A big dental bill. That's why dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company is important. Now, this isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. It helps pay for over 400 procedures, like cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures.
That's a lot.
It's easy to find out more. Just call or go online now to get your free information kit with all the details. This dental insurance helps you pay for routine care and expensive major procedures, all with no deductibles and no annual maximums. You can even keep your dentist. Why pay more for dental care? Get your free info kit and start saving today. Call or visit physiciansmutualdental.com. Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
Everything is on sale at Sleep Number. Our new beds, everything cooling, and ache relief. Every bed and base is on sale for a limited time. Grab these deals today, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
From big moments to local victories, we're here for all the action. Sports stories that go beyond the scoreboard. Every team, every matchup, every night, we're on your sideline. Channel 8, bringing you Nebraska now.
After months of planning, it's here. The record setter for 2026 at Kia of Lincoln. More than 200 new Kias to choose from, financing from 0% APR for up to 60 months, discounts up to $7,000, and much more. For example, choose from a few remaining 2025 Kia Sorrentos, priced from just $319 a month. Now under new management, come see us at 1145 North 48th Street or online at kiaoflincoln.com. You'll love our new way of doing business.
Get in the game with the Now Local News app. Scan the QR code on your screen to download the app and submit your best sports moments. Share the highlights from your favorite plays, top performances, and big wins. Your videos might even be featured on our newscasts. Earn points for each accepted submission and redeem them for Visa gift cards. Help us capture the excitement as it unfolds. Download the Now Local News app and start sharing today.
Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 5.
Coming up tonight, erratic escape. What dangerous acts police are saying this man committed while they were attempting to pull him over. Also tonight, Hegseth hearing from lawmakers.
Secretary Hegseth, you have been lying to the American public about this war from day one.
A routine hearing goes awry. What questions lawmakers threw at Secretary Hegseth during a critical time. Also, brackets build. The baseball tournament is set. What our local college teams' chances are taking home the trophy. An attack at Arby's.
There was still like 5 cops there all night. Till I went to sleep, they were there. So.
An officer is injured by gunfire at a Lincoln Arby's. How witnesses are describing the tense moments. And breaking now, an officer hit by bullet shrapnel and the suspect potentially tied to a homicide case. This is just into our newsroom. We are learning police say the suspect in this assault at Arby's, Joseph Bertolino, could be linked to a homicide in Carter Lake, Iowa, which is just north of Omaha right there. Lincoln police say he made concerning comments while in custody, referencing a homicide in the Carter Lake Country Inn Hotel. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rod Fowler. The commotion happening late last night around 10 o'clock. Officers responding to a caller saying he heard a male and a female fighting at the Arby's right here on South 27th Street near Nebraska Parkway. A struggle between the suspect and the officer would send them both to the hospital. And as you can see from this map right here, this Arby's is right by a residential area. Channel 8's Danielle Da Silva was able to find some people who witnessed the action. She joins us live near the crime scene. And what did the people see, Danielle?
Well, Rod, let's start with the police. They described the struggle between the man and the officer as dangerous. And the neighbors that I spoke to who watched the incident unfold in the neighborhood nearby, they said they knew that something was seriously wrong based on the large police presence that kept this Arby's surrounded for hours.
I've never seen that many cops in my life.
Neighbors like Brooke Bruchette recounting an unusual sight on South 27th Street and Nebraska Parkway. Officers were called to the Arby's about a dispute shortly before 10 p.m. Tuesday. Dispatch saying it sounded like a dispute between a man and a woman. Bruchette witnessing firsthand how events unfolded.
About 20 to 30 cop cars, about like 2 unmarked vehicles, I think, with detectives, I assume, because they were in like suits and stuff. A couple fire trucks and a couple ambulances just kept coming from each side of town. Like, they just kept coming. It was crazy.
She tells me Arby's employees could be seen in the front talking to police. Another onlooker, Isabella Bree, recalls officers appearing to strategize before entering.
Couldn't tell who was shouting at who, but I thought it might be officers talking to one another and coordinating what they're going to do, but they seemed ready to take action.
Once inside, police found Joseph Bertolino of Jacksonville, Florida, held up in the restroom. A struggle began while trying to take him into custody.
During the fight, at some point in time, Bertolino was grabbing for the officer's sidearm and a round was discharged into the restroom floor.
The officer then deployed a taser to get Bertolino under control. He was later transported to the hospital for evaluation. The officer involved also getting treated at a hospital. Neighbors left in shock upon learning what happened.
Usually this is a safe neighborhood and nothing really concerning happened, so it was out of the ordinary for sure.
There's no word yet on the alleged woman's involvement in the dispute, but police are still investigating. Reporting live from Lincoln, Danielle De Silva, Channel 8 News.
All right, thank you, Danielle, for that live report. Right now, Lincoln police are searching for a driver who successfully got away from them. The man you see in these videos behind me is who police are claiming blew through a stop sign after leaving a bar and eventually smashed into a parked SUV. You can see the truck he was driving in this video as well. What do you say we take a closer look? This occurring a little after 2 a.m. last Thursday. Officers report the driver hit speeds of 65 miles per hour as they tried to catch up with him. They say they decided to back off after he drove into a residential area just to be safe. The truck caused significant damage to the SUV that it crashed into, but police say no one was hurt. And there's the SUV. If you recognize the man from the video or the female passenger, be sure to call Lincoln Police, or you can remain anonymous by calling Crime Stoppers. Breaking now, Secretary Pete Hegseth facing lawmakers for the first time since the beginning of the war in Iran. And tonight we're finding out how much the war has cost so far, and is there any end in sight? Channel 8's Meg West joins us live in the newsroom. Meg, today's hearing got pretty chippy, didn't it?
It sure did, Rod. Good evening. And that cost you mentioned, well, it's $25 billion. That's how much has been spent on the war so far. Most of that going to ammunition. Some of the spending is also on maintenance and replacing equipment. The price of the war is a big issue among lawmakers and the American people as Congress considers President Donald Trump's $1.5 trillion defense budget request for the 2027 fiscal year. Secretary Hegseth facing fiery questioning over the spending as he defended the war and the president.
The biggest challenge, the biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans.
Nebraska Representative Don Bacon was at the hearing in D.C. and had this to say about not backing down from the threat.
I think we have to continue putting the pressure on, and this blockade is vitally important. It's working. Let's keep the pressure on. This regime's going to have to acknowledge that they're losing and that they cannot have a nuclear program and that they cannot be a threat to their neighbors. So I encourage the president, keep the pressure on.
Representative Bacon also criticizing Secretary Hegseth for firing several senior military leaders, questioning whether that was the right or wise thing to do. Lawmakers also questioning how much longer the war might last as we enter week 9 of a war that President Trump initially said would last 4 to 6 weeks. Secretary Hegseth saying it's not something you would tell your adversary. And President Trump says today that he's rejected a peace deal from Iran that would lift the naval blockade and open up the Strait of Hormuz. When asked how long he would keep the strait blocked, he said that it's up to Iran, that when they cry uncle, when they say they've had enough, he'll open it up. In the newsroom, Meg West, Channel 8 News.
All right, thank you, Meg. New tonight, Beatrice Community Hospital responding to a report of a bomb threat. The hospital saying someone called them indicating bombs and shooters have been placed outside the hospital. Officials reporting tonight the threat was a false alarm. They are thanking their staff and local law enforcement for their quick actions to assess the situation. Law enforcement found no bombs, no shooters. The hospital adds that there was also no damage or injuries, and they're working with authorities on their investigation into the threats. Now let's get you a look at your first forecast on this Wednesday evening, a live look outside on this nice late April cool day. Good to see the sun again after several days of clouds. Hopefully many of you saw some much needed rain. Is it going to stay like this, like we had today for a while? Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins. Rusty?
The days ahead are more than likely going to be like today than the other day. But there's precipitation out there too. So we've got a little bit of everything moving through, and just some light rain showers for north central and northeast Nebraska. Maybe a rumble of thunder headed towards Columbus. Some light to moderate rainfall in southwest Nebraska. There's been some lightning bolts showing up in southwest Nebraska as well. So some very scattered showers. ongoing on the satellite and radar through 5 o'clock. Now in Beatrice, a mixture of clouds and sun, more sun than anything on our Shones roofing cam at 6th and Perkins. We have 64 degrees. That's a nice day. With a dew point of 37, it's one of those days where we don't get a whole lot of these, but hopefully you can enjoy. But again, that light rain, and there's the rumble of thunder I was talking about, just south and east of North Platte along Interstate 80. Overall, though, most of eastern Nebraska is quiet and mild. We have temperatures in the 60s, but you don't have to go too far, and you're in the 40s in southwest Nebraska. A little bit of a wind, variable at 5 to 10 miles per hour. As we head through tonight, temperatures eventually falling into the lower 40s, so another chill in the air. We are going to see warmer temperatures eventually. That forecast in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Rusty. Breaking now, the Federal Reserve holding interest rates steady for the third consecutive time this year. It comes during a surge in oil prices and increased economic uncertainty from the Iran war. Jerome Powell holding what is likely his last meeting as Fed chair. He says he'll be remaining on the central bank's board of governors after his term as chair ends May 15th. Largely, he says, due to the Department of Justice accusing him of giving false testimony to Congress about an office renovation.
I'm waiting, for the investigation to be well and truly over with finality and transparency, and I'm waiting for that, and I will leave when I think it's appropriate to do so.
The president's choice to replace Powell, Kevin Warsh, is expected to get Senate approval. It's just a matter of when. Well, new tonight, a substitute teacher is cited for a disturbance at Raymond Central School. Lancaster County deputies say 44-year-old Samuel Carmen of Lincoln made several inappropriate comments to a couple of 6th grade classes. They say some students actually left the classroom to find help. Here's Chief Deputy Ben Houchin with the nature of those comments.
They were disturbing, as I said. There was some comments about threats, and it started out more, I think he started joking, and it just turned very odd as the children told us. I'm sure he wishes he could take back some of those not intelligent comments he made to them.
Raymond Central Public Schools releasing this statement today about the substitute teacher, saying they removed Carmen from the classroom and he is no longer employed by Raymond. We are working on several news stories coming up at 6 o'clock, including Leading the Way. The city of Lexington working with Tyson Foods to create an impact in the city following the company's plant closure. How they say this will help the city grow. And coming up after the break and only on 8 exclusive, Sentimental Shoes. How a cat rescue is carrying on the memory of one of their volunteers through shoe donations. Stay with us. Now to a story you'll only find on 8. One animal shelter in Kearney honoring the life of a volunteer in a very unique way. Last month, Kearney Rescue Cats lost one of their longtime volunteers, and now they're getting the community together to remember how she gave back. Channel 8's Jake Holman joins us here in the studio to share this heartwarming story. Jake?
Ron, Ella DeWeese was a longtime volunteer at Kearney Rescue Cats, and one of the things that she was best known for was taking care of a shoe fundraiser they had. And while the shelter says she will be deeply missed, they will now have to cover all the tasks that Ella had taken care of. The family, though, had asked for the community to honor Ella's life by donating new shoes. And so far, you can see in these photos here, more than 75 pairs have been collected, and they are still collecting. The rescue stated, though, just how special it was to see this and the impact Ella had on the Kearney community. Now, we also got a chance to talk with the rescue shelter just moments ago, and they say Ella was truly a big part of the work they did, and now they're just trying to navigate life without her. For now, we'll hear from them, though, on the news at 6. For now, reporting here in the studio, Jake Holman, Channel 8 News.
Now, your Storm Alert Team forecast with Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins.
Looking outside, really a nice day. You know, we've got just those fair weather cumulus clouds out there. A lot of the trees all greened up and the grass is green. We've had some rain. We need more, but we have been seeing a decent amount lately. So things have greened up nicely, and it's our Barry Law Cam looking at a pretty nice afternoon out there. Really, it is just one of those days. We don't get I mean, it's not warm, it's not cold. It's just a late April kind of day. How about that? 63 in Lincoln, 61 in Columbus, some 50s towards Chadron, 48 degrees in Imperial, one of the cooler spots, along with McCook. How often can I say that? McCook is one of the cold spots on the map versus everybody else. That doesn't happen very often. We're at 64 in Beatrice and Hebron. Those are a couple of the warmer spots. Everybody else is just a little cooler than that. Not a whole lot of wind. I think maybe that's why I thought today was such a nice day. Single-digit wind speed. That'll do it every time. The highest is in Columbus right now at 10 miles per hour. 20 in McCook, though. There's some showers and some isolated thunderstorms rolling through that area, so a little higher wind towards McCook, but everybody else less than 10 miles per hour. I mean, enjoy these days. A little bit of light rain, much needed precipitation. It's not enough, but as long as we can keep getting some over and over again as we head through the April into May and hopefully June, July, and August, then we'll improve slowly but surely. And that's how you get out of a drought, is you slowly have to get out of the drought's way by getting precipitation. And here we go. Light rain off towards Columbus, maybe an isolated thunderstorm here. Boone County might get a rumble of thunder. Some lightning here in and around just south and east of North Platte. So is that going to stick around? Well, for a little bit. And how far east will it make it? Probably not very far. Maybe up towards O'Neill, a few scattered showers down here just south of Grand Island next to, say, Hastings, Kearney, and then just south of McCook. Trying to make its way east. It might make its way into the Lincoln area, maybe Omaha, Beatrice, but by the time it gets here, won't amount to much. But it's kind of leaving our atmosphere a little jumbled. So with a cold front that's going to be slicing from north to south tomorrow, we might see a spot shower every now and then. Won't be a big deal. I think we'll see a mixture of clouds and maybe some sunshine. There comes that cold front right about there. And so maybe a scattered shower, isolated thunderstorm by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Notice, almost everybody is going to miss out on this, but 1 or 2 spots may see a spot shower, maybe a rumble of thunder, and then partly cloudy skies as we head into Thursday night, and eventually mostly clear skies. So we could use more rain, but at least it's not just total sunshine. We're trying to get rain in here on and off throughout the next few days. But tonight, temperatures right around 40 degrees, maybe some 30s a little further west. Highs tomorrow, struggling to get back to that normal mark. We should be in the upper 60s. We'll be in the upper 50s and lower 60s, but not cold, just cooler than average. So lower 60s the next couple of days, that spot shower on Thursday. Then it does look like it dries out for a while, but we do get that rain chance back into the forecast by early next week. Temperatures after Thursday and after Friday, 70s as far as the eye can see.
All right, thank you, Rusty. Developing now, the House postponed a vote on controversial pesticide language in the Farm Bill. Some Republicans are revolting after language was put into the bill that bans states from creating pesticide labeling laws that differ from EPA guidelines. Pesticide labels here in Nebraska are already largely controlled by the EPA. So we asked Senator Pete Ricketts today what he thinks Nebraska farmers would get out of a change to this bill.
Well, one of the things we want to do is make sure we've got standardized labeling across the country. That will help make sure that farmers and ranchers across the nation are following the same procedures to be able to apply the important tools that they need to be able to grow the food that feeds our nation.
They're hoping to reschedule the vote to next week, so we will keep you up to date as they decide when it will take place and what decision they will come to. Happening right now, it's day one of the Great Plains Athletic Conference Baseball Tournament. Both of the GPAC brackets are set with Doane and Concordia, the two host schools. For the latest on today's action, let's check in with Sports Director Nate Johnson, who joins us here in the studio. Nate.
Hey, thank you, Rod. It's time for some postseason baseball here in Nebraska. Today is the first day of the GPAC tournament. Doane and Concordia finished as the #1 and 2 seeds after the regular season, so they are the host schools. For each of the tournament pods, Concordia will be hosting the 3, 6, and 7 seeds in their bracket. All games will be here in Lincoln at Sherman Park, and Doane will host the 4, 5, and 8 seeds in their bracket, which will be hosted at Doane's baseball field. Now, here is a look at the Doane bracket and what's transpired already today. Briarcliff Northwestern, a doozy between those two, 5-3 going to Briarcliff in 14 innings. And Doane and Hastings in progress right now. Tomorrow's games will start out in Crete at 9 a.m. Let's keep things moving on the Concordia side of things and take a look at that bracket. The Bulldogs take the field at 6 p.m. today. And, of course, right now, Morningside Dakota Wesleyan in action. And we'll have an update on all these games later tonight at 10 and, of course, at 6. Tomorrow's games in Lincoln, though, start at noon. Excited to see some postseason baseball. Plenty more sports to talk about coming up in the Sports Zone. We'll see you there. For now, the Rod will send things back over to you.
All right, thank you, Nate. New tonight, a big move from a beloved University of Nebraska at Kearney coffee spot. Barista's Daily Grind will no longer be right next to the campus. It's entering a one-year partner agreement with the Brewed Awakening, a coffee shop on UNK's campus. Although they'll be sharing a space, they say it's a strategic step forward for both of them. They add it's going to be the same people with the same passion, just in a new space. But don't go anywhere. We have more headed your way after the break and a new batch of stories coming up at 6 o'clock. Nebraska Appleseed gives a preview of Medicaid work requirements, what they're saying they'll look like for the everyday Nebraskan. Stay with us. New at 5, the Apace Choir presents a special public performance at the State Capitol building today. Hey, they sound good. They're doing this performance to bring together voices from across southeast Nebraska in a celebration of music, community, and most importantly to them, inclusion. You see, Apace is a nonprofit that is dedicated to support people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They're hoping this performance was a meaningful experience for all of their participants, and I'm sure it was. Finally tonight, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins. He has a final look at your forecast. Rusty?
It's pretty nice. I think that a lot of people will be happy about what's happening out there right now. Some spots, a lot of sunshine, mild temperatures, some areas seeing some rainfall. And I know a lot of us need that rainfall. Temperatures comfortable, just a little cooler than we have been for a while. But there's that light rain. Southwest Nebraska seeing some rain. Northeast Nebraska, a little light rain, maybe a rumble of thunder every now and then. Temperatures tonight, 30s and 40s. Highs tomorrow, upper 50s, lower 60s. Really a little cooler than average, but still a pretty nice last day of April.
I should say. Thank you, Rusty, and thank you for joining us. World News is next, and we'll see you back here at 6 o'clock.
The Amigos Yankees.